Ever heard of business email compromise? BEC for short? This is the hot new thing in the cyber criminal arsenal. It's such a simple scam you may be surprised that it works at all. But a combination of good research and effective social engineering has generated, according to the FBI, almost $3.1 billion in losses globally in the last 2 years. Let's have a look at how it works. There are 5 main types of BEC. We'll briefly describe each of them. The most common scheme is one in which criminals impersonate high-level business executives by compromising their email accounts. The accounts can be either directly compromised or simply spoofed. Of course, the spoofed mails are more simple to detect and block. Then they send a fund transfer request to a senior employee who is responsible for such operations within the company. In the majority of cases, these requests appear to come from a CEO and are sent to the CFO of the same organization. In this scheme, a business is contacted by criminals impersonating a supplier. They request to wire funds for invoice payment to an alternative fraudulent account. The request may be made via telephone, email, or even fax. A compromised email account can be used against targets other than internal employees. From a compromised account, criminals send requests for invoice payments to multiple vendors that are in the victim's address book. The transfer is of course made to a fraudulent account. Attackers can also impersonate lawyers or representatives of law firms claiming to be handling confidential or time-sensitive matters. This type of scam usually occurs at the end of a business day or week. The victims are persuaded to act quickly or secretly with the transfer of funds. In this most recent scenario, a compromised business executive's email account is being used to send requests to provide personally identifiable information. The main targets of this type of scam are human resources, bookkeeping, and financial or auditing departments. BEC scams target organizations both large and small. Compared to ransomware, for example, BEC scams yield approximately 100 times greater net profit. The criminals rely heavily on social engineering techniques, which makes business email compromise very difficult to detect. There are some steps, however, that you can take to minimize the risk of a BEC attack. Be wary of unexpected emails sent by high-level executives, and try to get a secondary verification of the request. Raise executive and non-executive employee awareness. It is most often human error that leads to security breaches. Verify changes in vendor payment details by using a secondary sign-off. Verify fund transfer requests. Make sure you're using advanced email security technologies, as standard anti-spam solutions are not good at detecting these types of scams. And last but not least, use common sense. If funds are transferred to a fraudulent account, it is important to act quickly. Contact your financial institution immediately upon discovering the fraudulent transfer. Request that your financial institution contact the corresponding bank to which the fraudulent transfer was sent. File a complaint, regardless of loss amount, at www.ic3.gov in the US or actionfraud.police.uk in the UK, or your local law enforcement organization.